Yeah.
So we are going to talk today just about obviously how business owners might be preparing themselves from an accounting point of view. So you work with Findex. A lot of self-employed business owners
Yeah.
will be wanting some guidance and some advice. I know we're getting a lot of calls around mortgages. So tell us a little bit about what you're hearing out there.
Yeah. Well, most of our clients are small and medium-sized business owners, across New Zealand and Australia, and what our clients are wanting to know is, how does the wage subsidy package apply to them? That's both for employers and also for self-employed people and for contractors. So they're wanting to understand the detail around how that works. Do they apply now? Do they wait? Do they qualify, and how exactly is it going to work? So people really want to know that, and then people are wanting to understand how can they manage their cash, so that over the next 4 weeks, where for our clients who are not essential services, where essentially their businesses are going to be closed for the next 4 weeks, how are they going to be able to manage cash flows? Well, look, one of the crucial things is just preserving cash flow. We're immediately advising clients to work through what that cash flow position is at the moment, and what that's likely to look like over the next month and 3 months, given what's happening. Are there some assets that you can liquidate? What can you do with your current suppliers? Can you get some better credit terms with them to keep some cash in the bank? Chasing up all of your clients for the overdue money, which is outstanding. And whether that means actually getting the money in, or at least understanding how your customers are impacted by what's going on, and what's going to be the likely impact on your business. One of the conversations I was having with a client a few days ago, before it got announced, we're going to level 3 and 4, and it's still relevant. Like they have about a 2-month book of forward orders, and those customers have paid a deposit on those jobs. But one of the key kind of risks moving forward is, if those people have been impacted by what's going on, are they going to be able to take delivery and pay the second half of that invoice? So, key thing there is getting in touch with those people, finding out how they're being impacted, and what can we do to support them. So, a couple of things there was, could they provide those customers with some extended credit terms? Because, what they want to be able to deliver, and want to be able to receive the money for that. And if it's extended over some time, and they've got the ability to be able to cash flow that, then that was an option. And if they're affected and couldn't go for that option, then what we're going to be what's a suitable kind of postponement, so that there's just as much certainty as possible with what's going on.
A little bit from the government. Have you heard anything from IRD about sort of tax relief or tax extensions and things yet?
I have seen some communication around that, and you most people would have seen in the package that there is some kind of forward-looking relief around that. But we are also seeing some cases where there is some I guess some greater understanding about what's going on right now, and we're seeing some some customers who have got payments coming up due over the next few months, and they're just not going to be able to make those. And so I guess the key thing is being in communication. If you can get in communication, then that's that's useful for everybody.
To Tony Alexander talk this morning, and one thing he said was that any businesses that are struggling in the next month isn't because of bad management necessarily, right? It's a string of events that no one really could have foreseen. So if you're feeling under the pump because of cash flow, that's not necessarily because you've got a bad business or because you've done something wrong. It's just your event. So yeah, go easy on yourself, and everyone's in the same boat. It's a good time to keep in good communication with other people, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, one of the really important things that we're working through with lots of business owners at the moment is what's going on, managing the stress and the anxiety and the everyone's mental health. Like, this is a huge deal. This is a massive deal, and I can't think of another situation where you've had so many people across the world all facing the same crisis and uncertainty, at the same time. Like, it's absolutely unprecedented. And for business owners, we're responsible for a whole lot of people, not just ourselves. We're responsible for our employees, for our contractors, for our suppliers, our customers. That's a huge weight to bear, and it's really important that everybody is connecting with their networks, that they're having conversations, and getting the support that they need. We're a lot of our customers are ensuring that their staff members are buddying up, so that they've got a support person there, and making sure that the communication to team members is really clear. And a lot of those conversations are really difficult. There are lots and lots of businesses that are not going to be able to top up people's salary and wages. So they're not going to be able to keep paying them at the same level, and that's a super stressful thing for lots of New Zealanders to be faced with.
We've got a Friday afternoon. We're doing a Zoom meeting, drinks, wine or a beer in hand. Everyone logs in and just sees how everyone is. That isolation for mental health is something that business owners and everyone is going to have to keep in the back of their mind, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. And really important to get some exercise, get some fresh air. Many of us are either kind of working from home, or most of us are going to be in some form of complete kind of isolation with our families or loved ones over the next 4 weeks, and that's going to create some challenge.
March 31st coming up, financial end of year. What does that look like with the world in isolation? Is it different for businesses, or they're still pretty much the same?
Well, I mean, March 31st, end of the financial year. There's I don't think it looks vastly vastly different from uh, I guess from that perspective. We're dealing with a crisis, and the fact that it's the 31st of March is kind of irrelevant. We have, obviously, from a cash flow perspective, there are ongoing kind of requirements to make payments and to file returns and the like. But there's so I guess one of those dates coming up is for terminal tax payments in April, and then coming up in May, we've got some more tax payments. We've got some GST requirements and things that are due. So again, people have an obligation to keep those keep up with those requirements, and of course there's going to be some leniency where people are not going to be able to do that. Everybody understands what's going on, but it's best that everybody tries to keep their affairs in the best possible order that they can, because when people don't do that, and when people put their head in the sand, it just creates more of a problem to deal with later on. So,
and obviously, as a mortgage person, I have to ask: do you think you'll see any change to ring fence losses as a way of alleviating some pain? Do you think they'll let those losses flow through for investment property? If there's been any murmur of that, or is that a bit further down the road?
I haven't seen anything around that, and personally, I would be surprised. I think that what we're seeing from the support which is being offered is the support's being offered in some slightly different ways than that. So that's my guess. It's a very fluid situation, and it could change at any time.
That cash that would flow out of that change would probably come a little too late. And viewing it, I think it'll be more as those grants that they've released, and potentially easing on the policy that they borrow on the properties and things. It would be a much more immediate gain.
Yeah, I mean, what we're seeing from the banks is that there's they've put together their support package offerings, and they've done that very quickly, and so there are opportunities there. There are the wage subsidy which has been offered. There's some relief for business owners who have to to go and buy assets less than $5,000, so that they can expense those straight away. So that's where the first ports of call have got to be, and I think that the wage subsidy, and also the that support which is being offered instantly, it's being turned around really quickly. It's an upfront payment which is coming through, which is they're all the really important things that need to happen. We need to get cash into people's hands so that they have less uncertainty over the next period of time. And I think what's been done there is really a really good first step. I mean, it's never enough money, right? It's never enough money, but it is some money, and it's now, and it's it's getting it in business owners' pockets so that they can pass it on to their team, and give those team members some certainty about the amount of money they're going to see over the next period of time.
From I look after quite a few advisors, and have spoken a lot with the banks over the past couple of days, as you can imagine, and what they have achieved in just 4 or 5 days has been monumental. That rewriting policies they would never thought they would have to rewrite in terms of loosening their responsible lending criteria. Mortgage holidays were completely off the table 3 weeks ago. If you'd asked for one, they would have laughed you out of the branch. And now you can pretty much apply for one over the phone. And that goes against everything the banks are trying to do. And they've done it all for the right reasons. But to get that policy in place so quickly has been amazing. It's I think there'll be a lot of relieved homeowners out there, and business owners who have a mortgage to pay but not necessarily income coming in. Anything else you've got to share with us?
Look, I guess some really important things that we've been working through with some business owners. So we talked about preserving cash, but making sure that your asset protection is in place. Absolutely crucial. Tapping into the bank funding, talked about that. Just with the working through a continuity plan, and taking the time to work through, well, what's the plan moving forward over the next 3 and 6 months. How is that going to work? What are the key things that you need to be focusing on there? And I talked about communication around your team members and your customers and suppliers. So that's the other key areas is everybody is reacting to the situation, and it's our job as leaders to lead and to make sure that we're clear and we're communicating what's going on, because those key people across our businesses, they look to us, and it's important that we provide that role.
I was going to share your website, but I'm afraid that the software will kick us all off and end the session from the problems we've had. But if they want information, just findex.co.nz.
Yeah, absolutely. And we, on there we have, a lot of free resources that people can tap into, and if they want to, speak to myself or one of our team, all of our details are on there, and we're here to help and support everyone that we can.
Thanks for dialing in, Andy. It's
cool.
Been great. Cheers.
Thanks for having me.